The CDC has now put out a new travel advisory for places like New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. That area is now considered to be the epicenter of the outbreak in the U.S. Hard-hit New York City is now scrambling to build a mobile hospital in Central Park. Here's NBC's Gabe Gutierrez.
As an emergency field hospital is being built in iconic Central Park, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut are now under a 14-day travel advisory. The CDC is urging people in the nation's worst coronavirus hotspot to halt non-essential domestic travel as cases top 70,000 in the 3 states with over 1,000 deaths.
Not a lockdown, something much more consistent with what we've been actually saying and doing in the city and state already, which is telling people to stay home unless they have an essential reason to go somewhere.
Today, the USNS Comfort is due to dock in New York Harbor. It will serve as a floating 1,000-bed hospital for non-coronavirus patients, freeing up beds on land.
We still have to take care of pregnant women who have to deliver. We have to take care of patients who need emergency surgery. We have to take care of kids.
In the Bronx, ERs are packed.
We are seeing a lot of younger patients that are coming through the door that are sicker as well, and that is surprising and a little scary.
Concerns are also growing about the lack of personal protective equipment, or PPE, for healthcare workers.
It's incredibly frustrating for us. Our coworkers are getting sick.
The last 5 days have been the busiest ever recorded by EMS here in New York City. As for this field hospital in Central Park, it is set to open tomorrow. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, New York.
Now, the president's new guidelines come as we're seeing new warnings from national health leaders. U.S. Surgeon General Jerome Adams called Indianapolis an emerging hotspot for COVID-19 alongside New Orleans, Chicago, Detroit, and other cities. And the country's top infectious disease expert says the U.S. will see many more cases.
Looking at what we're seeing now, I would say between 100 and 200,000 cases, but I don't want to be held to that because it's deaths. I mean, we're going to have millions of cases.
Now, here in Indiana, there are now over 1,700 positive cases of COVID-19. 35 Hoosiers in all have died from the virus. That's up from a total of 32 yesterday. Well, the current outbreak is a nightmare for Americans trapped in other countries. Many of them just could not make it out of those countries quickly enough, and now they're looking for help from our government. NBC's Sarah Harmon takes a look at some of their stories.
Tens of thousands of Americans are stranded overseas. In India, there's chaos as the government imposes a lockdown on more than 1 billion people, including Peter Joseph from San Diego. He's been stuck in his hostel for 8 days.
We feel completely not heard. We feel abandoned.
On the other side of the world, Peru closing its borders virtually overnight, sending Americans scrambling to the airport.
Yes, looking forward to going home.
Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers describing his own harrowing escape in a radio interview.
There was some moments where we were worried we were not going to get out. It was absolute pandemonium at the airport.
Others weren't so lucky.
Yesterday, the only meal we got was lunch.
Zachary Mexstroth has been stuck in a youth hostel in Cusco for 13 days.
You got a repatriation flight through the State Department, but you weren't allowed to leave the youth hostel.
Correct. So the hostel manager said that if I were to leave with that document, I would get arrested.
The State Department saying we have no higher duty than to protect American citizens and have launched an unprecedented global effort to bring home our citizens from every corner of the globe. But not everyone can be rescued easily. Those on cruise ships stranded at sea, unwelcome in any harbor. The Zandam off the coast of Panama carrying 4 dead and more than 100 sick. Tonight, transferring its healthy passengers to another vessel, as stranded Americans around the world wonder when and how they'll ever get home. Sarah Harmon, NBC News.
Now, President Trump says 2 health insurers are now waiving payments for coronavirus treatment. Both Cigna and Humana will not require many of their customers to make co-payments or other forms of cost sharing. This move could save COVID-19 patients thousands of dollars and ease the burden. Last week, Aetna announced payment waivers for COVID-19 patients as well. Workers at the Jeffersonville Amazon facility are worried shipments from a Kentucky warehouse could expose them to COVID-19. Last week, the Shepherdsville, Kentucky plant closed after 3 workers were diagnosed with the coronavirus. Our partners at the News and Tribune report shipments come from that warehouse daily to the one in Jeffersonville. But Amazon says it's making sure the facility is safe, so there are no disruptions to deliveries. Well, the FBI is warning people about scams targeting the new emergency relief package. The package offers direct payments to most adults and is supposed to boost the American economy. So the FBI is reminding people that the U.S. government will never send an email asking for people's personal information to get federal aid. They're also warning about potential hackers posing as health officials from the CDC or the World Health Organization. And still ahead, making sure families